Welcome to the second part of the ComCap Media Roundtable on hemp, the multi-billion-dollar crop. More and more consumers, patients, and their suppliers are just discovering how this old plant may improve their lives. That's why I now talk about this with Craig Goodwin, CEO, Director, and Founder of Naturally Splendid Enterprises in Vancouver, Canada. They sell hemp seeds to consumers, export hundreds of tons of it to South Korea, and extract healthy, active substances. David Wolf is a nutritionist and author of bestsellers like Superfoods, Longevity Now, or Sun Food Cuisine. He loves hemp for what it gives us for our healthier and happier lives. Simon Scholes, a chartered financial analyst with First Berlin Equity Research, sees investment opportunities in the global hemp industries developing after the ban is being lifted. Now let's welcome Raphael Dulon, founder and CEO of the German Hanf Farm Company. He grows and harvests hemp and sells it to companies like Medical Hemp. He also produces and sells oils, cookies, and snacks. Raphael, what made you become a hemp farmer?
As it was exactly one book, and we here in Germany call it the Yellow Bible. And in 1993, that book came out on the market, and it was just describing the potential of that plant. And I was so happy to read that, because at that time I was already working in organic agriculture. And so it was really interesting for me to see there's a crop which we were not used to, but it has so many opportunities for human being and for the agriculture as well.
So you already discovered that in the early 90s, and in the late 90s it was legal to grow industrial hemp in Germany. Now, if you grow industrial hemp, what effect does that have to the soil as compared to other things you may grow?
The effect of the hemp cultivation for the soil is really great. At the first moment, and especially in organic agriculture, it is quite important, you have an interesting effect on weed control, because the hemp plant is making such a big shadow that weed, which is usually coming, has no chance to grow. So this is very important, because this effect of weed control longs over many, many years. And there are many other points about the content of the nutritions and the content of the soil and the structure of the soil, which is quite important for the next crop. Because the next crop which you grow after hemp will have a better yield. This is now scientifically proved that you have a certain amount of a better yield, and you do have less problems with your weed. So even if you do conventional farming, you need not so much pesticides and so on. Or if you do organic farming, it is just better for your crop, because it's all better and it's all clean.
So do some farmers just use hemp for 1 year to improve their soil, and the next year they grow something else?
Yes, exactly. They are putting it into their crop rotation. So they have 1 year with hemp, and all the other years, 3 or 5 years, depends on your system, they can grow anything else, and then hemp comes back.
What else do you do with it? You work with farmers who grow your hemp. What else do you produce? What do you make of your hemp?
We are getting out of it many different products. So when we harvest in the early summer, we are able to cut the tops, and so we get only the leaves and some blossom and flower of the plant, which is very powerful, has good ingredients, and you can make tea out of it. And
David loves hemp tea, don't you?
Absolutely.
What do you take it for?
One of the things that came up years ago is I was doing an experiment on different teas. And if you made a tea and let it sit open, how long it would take for bacteria to grow. Hemp tea, no matter what other herbs it was mixed in or by itself, always won that contest, meaning it prevents bacterial growth in that tea sitting open for 8 days longer than any other herb, even Amazonian herbs. And that was one of the things that triggered me. That's when I realized that hemp is very powerful. It may be due to the silica content in hemp leaf, which is also something very good for our bones.
Bones. I know women who get osteoporosis, things like that. And they're always worried about their hair and their fingernails. Can you use it for that?
That's exactly it. Silica is known to be great for bones, hair, and nails. It's a beauty mineral, and it's the forgotten mineral. We hear all about calcium. Even sometimes we hear about phosphorus for building strong bones. Never is silica talked about, but silica, in my mind, especially as we age, is the most important of all of both of those. It's more important than calcium or phosphorus for building strong bones, healthy nails, and beautiful hair.
Mm-hmm. Rafa, you do a little bit of what Craig does on a local scale. Your business is far smaller than yours, and I'm glad you're here to show that it works on big scale. It also works on more local scale.
Yes, you just mentioned Craig, and I'm very, very happy to see how Natural Splendid is growing, or was growing over the last years, and is now booming.
The business opportunity isn't limited by the market. It isn't limited by the opportunity. It's not limited by the uses of products that we can develop from this, from these amazing ingredients. What we're limited to right now is that we don't have enough acreage. We grew less than 100,000 acres of hemp in Canada this year, and we're the largest hemp-producing country in the world when it relates to seeds. We are limited by how much we can produce. But the good news is, once again, farmers make more money growing hemp than any other crop they can possibly grow. And in Canada, Raphael, we're limited, like you know, we cannot extract the cannabinoids from hemp yet. Our regulatory environment does not allow for maximum economic yield of this plant, yet it's still an amazing, beneficially financial crop for farmers, not only for that season, but as you know, for the seasons after, for the crops that follow. So farmers will fall in line. They will grow this crop. They have every reason to. It's good for the year they grow it. It's good for every year afterwards. And now they're making more money because companies like Raphael and Naturally Splendid are going out creating new markets. And in truth, the markets are coming to us. We're not have any lack of opportunity in many countries. We can expand very quickly. What we need to catch up is cultivation. And because this is economically viable for farmers, they will come in line. And we're just seeing the very beginning of the growth opportunity for hemp.
We are totally convinced that we will have that boom here in Europe as well. And so at the moment, we are making products like nutrition or food products. So we
I
have
remember
hemp
your
seed.
website. I've seen oil.
Yeah.
And you know what sticks to my mind when I see cookies? I see cookies and snack bars.
Yes, we have all this stuff where you are used to have, for example, nuts. And you can use the hemp seed. They are botanically called nuts as well. But they are not, how do you call it? They help me with allergens.
They're not allergenic.
That's an important point because we have seen an epidemic of allergies to peanuts, allergies to all different kinds of nuts, even almonds, walnuts, pecans. And when you're dealing with hemp, you've got a really nice ratio of protein to oil, better than nuts. Most nuts are a little bit too oily, so they sit very heavy in most people's digestive systems. But when you're dealing with hemp, it actually is really more friendly to the digestive system of most human beings because it has that right ratio of protein. Nuts, yes, they do contain protein, but not the same amount, not the ideal ratio of protein as what hemp has.
Mm-hmm. What do we have here? You brought us something. Mm-hmm. Yeah. What is this? What do we see here?
Well, that is the most basic of hemp products. That's a shelled, hulled hemp seed, also known as hemp seed hearts. And this is the perfect food. It is a great protein, a complete protein, which is unusual for plants. This is full of omegas, full of fiber, full of minerals. This itself is a fantastic product. You can refine it further. We press it while still in the seed, and it becomes a concentrated protein. So if you want a higher protein content, hemp seed has about 33% protein, and we can refine this up to about 50% protein, even higher if we want. 50% seems to be that right area to be in. You can produce it commercially viable, still make it affordable, and it delivers a great protein punch.
I think of my friends in the gym who want to grow their muscles, and when I hear you say protein and I see a powder, I think of the horrible powder they always buy, and I think it tastes horribly. And I don't even want to know what's in there. Would this help my friends in the gym to maybe grow muscles when they...
You know, there's a reason why you buy those giant tubs of other protein, primarily whey. And for most whey production, it's highly processed, lots of chemical processes and extraction. This protein is created very simply. You take the seed, we call it cold pressing. Farmers have been doing this for hundreds of years. You literally squish the seeds, and out one side comes oil, and out one side comes cake, is what we call it. You simply sift it, and that's what this is. There's no other chemicals. We haven't done any other processes to it. We've simply taken this product and refined and separated the protein from it. No chemicals, no big, long extraction process, simply cold pressing like we've been doing for hundreds of years into a refined product. This is why it's such a fabulous product.
You press it and you have oil. Oil in a bottle looks like oil in a bottle. This is why we don't have it here. What did you produce here? What is this?
This is actually hemp oil. So before we turn it into this powder, imagine, if you will, a product more people are familiar with, olive oil. So hemp oil looks very similar to that, same color, same texture. But you have limited commercial opportunities, even for an olive oil. You put it in a bottle, you add it to salads, but how do you get this amazing omega nutrition into the largest variety of products? Look for as many commercial applications as possible in the health and nutrition area. So the oil that is very similar looking to an olive oil then goes through an extraction and formulation process for an encapsulated product that turns it into a water dispersible powder. The reason we do this is that a water dispersible powder can be used in far more applications. The opportunity to provide hemp omega, which is our trade name for this, is much greater. So we have an ability to provide health and nutrition to a much wider variety of people. And when we put it in this form, not only for human orally to consume it, we can also use it in topicals. We actually have pet applications, and we're using some technologies and infusing feedstock. So we can make, for example, poultry. We've done a study at the University of Manitoba, and we have used hemp omega in their diet. And it has increased the omega in the eggs up to 500%. Now, omega eggs in the North American market demand a premium on the shelf. You get your regular eggs for a couple of dollars a dozen, then you have your free-range eggs, and then up here in the price is omega eggs. But if you take a look at the nutritional value in it, David, it's very minimal. So to be able to include this into feed for poultry is an amazing market itself, especially when you get 500% more omega in the eggs from the poultry that eat this. And in fact, the essential fatty acids transfer into the meat as well, 300% or more omegas in the meat of the chicken, and it's reducing the trans fats. So you couldn't do that with a hemp oil, because how do you mix it into the seed? So we take that hemp oil, refine it down to this water dispersible powder, and we're able to use far greater applications, far more commercial opportunities, but the key is it's more bioavailable and it's more sustainable in the body. So there's two types of sustainability, of course. One is a sustainable agricultural practice. Is this good for the environment? But the other sustainability is how long does that nutrition sustain in your body? So this plant-based omega ingredient has superior bioavailability and superior sustainability in your body. And this creates maximum nutritional benefit.
What do you think about this powder that comes out of a process?
The first thing that came to mind, and it's the most important thing in nutrition, is flavor. It tastes good. You can actually eat that straight. So for example, some people, their blood sugar drops every 2 hours. They have to have some kind of protein every 2 hours. A tablespoon of that hemp protein right there can keep your blood sugar stable all day long. You'll lose weight, you'll have energy, plus you're having an incredible array of not only that protein, but you're also still getting about 20% of those oils. So you're still going to get some omega-3 and some omega-6 and some GLA that's there, and some minerals, of course. So it's a great weight loss food. You can see that he's taken it to that next step over there with the white powder, which is also very interesting, where what he's really done there is taken hemp oil and made it into a powder. Now that brings tremendous benefits because there are an enormous amount of bars out on the market, cereals out on the market, snack foods, where you could add those omega-3 fatty acids, those omega-6 fatty acids, those GLA fatty acids, in order to get more well-rounded, more natural, healthy balance of fatty acids, what our brain needs, what we need for an anti-inflammatory effect in our joints. So these products right here, especially the protein and the dried and powdered hemp oil, have tremendous market viability.
This is made of hemp oil. This reminds me of something of your confessions right before the show. I'm gonna out you now. He has a secret drug. He has a little bottle in his fridge. And when he feels a little nervous or under stress, right?
Yeah.
Like you did before this first television show in your life, what did you drink?
Hemp seed oil, of course.
And how does that make you feel?
Yes, hemp seed oil makes you feel better, and it really makes something in your endocannabinoid system. So all these fatty acids help you to have everything regulated. And one very special thing is that your happiness is regulated by these part of your body, your metabolism. And I feel it in my brain. There is some energy, there's something happening, and yeah, it works.
Great, I see you're good. Now,
We should get into that about the brain.
Yeah, go.
So when you say you feel it in your brain, how long does that take, and what do you feel more specifically in your brain?
Hard to explain for a man what do I feel, you know that. But it is very easy. It is some energy. It is something like it is getting warmer somehow, and there is something what we call in Germany kribbling. It is something pulsing there. That's what I feel, and it is very positive.
I feel like hemp seed oil is such an important brain food that when you say you're feeling it immediately, it really makes sense to me, because hemp oil is one of the primary constituents of our brain. It's got the omega-3 fatty acids, it's got the omega-6. It's what we need for cognition. And to me, it's a nootropic, which means that it helps us to become smarter.
Yeah.
And that's something about hemp seed that's really bringing it, I believe, up into the light right now, is that people want that edge.
Yeah.
They want something that gives them a little bit of a nutritional edge, and hemp seed and hemp oil products are that thing.
Yeah.
And the range that it's good for, Raphael, is the very young for brain development, but also for the elderly, for continued brain health. So it doesn't work, for when you're 1 to 3 years old and then you have no more benefit, or when you're 50 to 60 years old. This is meant for everybody, for the young, for the old, for everybody in between as you're growing, to use it as a brain food. It's funny, maybe that's one of the reasons why it is popular in South Korea. Education is held in very high regard in Asian regions. Not that it isn't in many other regions, but there's a particular emphasis in that region. And I think that they see the opportunity for increased brain health and increased brain productivity. And it's funny, when you said you read a book, I'm just amazed. When I read it, the first thing I thought, Raphael, is too good to be true.
Yeah.
It can't be great for the environment. It can't be great for the body and the mind and the spirit and all of these things, and economically viable and all these great things about it. It's impossible for all this to be true, but it is true. And it's why pioneers like yourself in Germany, we embrace you as part of the hemp family. And it's an unusual position to be in business. Usually we'd be competitors, but we're not. We, in the hemp family, are driving nutrition to as many people as possible. I'm so pleased that other regions are progressing, maybe not in acreage, but some of the regulatory environment is evolving even faster. For example, in the cannabinoid extraction and formulation area.
Yes.
And that encourages me that Canada will fall in line, that the United States of America will make it acceptable across all the states. And we're getting there. And the more people that we bring into the family like yourself, the stronger we become. So I did the same thing. I read some information about hemp. I said, this is absolutely too good to be true. I reached out to agricultural experts who were experts in Canadian agricultural crops. And they were absolutely amazed, and to a person, when they read the information that I provided to them, they joined our team. I've yet to meet a single person that I've exposed to this amazing plant that said, it's not for me, whether it's taken personally or not for me as a business opportunity or not for me environmentally, because there's just no reason not to be involved in this amazing plant, except if you want to compare it to the visual aspect of it. It looks like a marijuana leaf, and we need to get past that stigma. And in the year 2016, I can't believe we're still stuck on that, David. With an amazing plant like this, that's the sticking point, that's the roadblock to world nutrition. We know those roadblocks are coming down, and I think the social media, the internet is what's driving this. Education, people taking responsibility for their own health and wellness. And David's been a pioneer in that for decades before it was popular, before it was trendy. You were on this path, you're a pioneer in this area, and to see it come to full circle now where plant-based nutrition and your health and your wellness is very much top of mind awareness, and that you can make it a business opportunity at the same time, is really the best combination. Because to be able to provide the nutrition and the products that we can from hemp, there has to be an economic model that works. And that's the magic in hemp. Not only is it great for everybody, but you can make it in such a way that it's sustainable. They're sustainable in your body, sustainable environmentally, but you have to be sustainable financially as well. And that's where the 3 pillars hit so perfectly, which when you and I read information like this, it's just so obvious to us. And it won't be long till it's obvious to the whole world, Raphael.
David, among all of us, you have the largest audience, and you are so closely in touch with people who read your books. What are they interested in? What do they want? It's not all about hemp. It's about healthy living and good nutrition, leaving out junk. What do they tell you?
They are becoming more sophisticated. It's really incredible what's happening. Whereas in the old days, we'd be talking about hemp seed and trying to get people to even try it. Everybody out of those hundreds of millions of people has heard of hemp seed at this point. Many have tried it. Many are using hemp protein as part of their regular lifestyle. Many are involved in using hemp oil, for example, and not just olive oil like the old days. It's a tremendous sophistication now. These people are also excited about the CBD revolution. In the old days, I'd put something out about CBD, people would have no idea what I'm talking about. Now cannabidiol is the talk of the internet. It is incredible. For example, just the other day I put out a CBD post, so a little educational piece, a little meme or infographic about CBD. It reached 1.5 million people. And the comments are amazing because people are starting to realize that we do have the solutions. The plants are here that can help us. And the next piece is, okay, how do we act on this? Do we grow it? You know, a lot of people have gotten into growing hemp. A lot of people have gotten into selling hemp. A lot of people have gotten into opening health food stores to bring it in. A lot of people are now creating cooperative buying environments where we all get together, all our Facebook friends, for example, and we buy products together so we can get a better price. So we're like a little health food store. This is what's happening online. The legalization of hemp in North America, in my opinion, has a lot to do with what's happened due to the internet. It's the education barrier has been overcome. In the old days, it was very hard to get to you and educate you about hemp or about CBD or about omega-3 fatty acids. Now it's easy, and that's caused a major change in the buying power, the interest, the excitement, the passion that folks have for this product, and also the effects. People have now tried these things and found, wow, this is the right protein. This is the right omega-3. I can feel what it's doing for me. I like this better than other seeds like rice or wheat. It's a more appropriate crop, and it's environmentally friendly.
In what countries are your viewers or followers or those who read you and interact with you?
All over the world, every country on earth, India, Philippines. We have enormous outreach in Australia, the UK, Germany, Scandinavia, New Zealand, of course, North America, Brazil, South American countries like Colombia, Peru, even countries that don't speak English. We still have enormous amount of fans. Every time I go and check the demographics of who's tuning into our messaging, it's expanding to places I never even heard of. Places in Africa I never heard of, countries, huge countries in Africa like Nigeria and Uganda and Kenya. These places are now turning on to hemp. They're turning on to health. And we're seeing a transformation in our world due to social media. So I do want to say something about social media here that I find to be absolutely fascinating. In studying health, I found that the #1 cause of health is not what we think it is. It's actually connection. The #1 cause of health is support, family, friendship, love. And the social media outreach allows us to connect with like-minded people around the world and feel supported. So it's secretly causing the greatest health revolution in the history of the world.
Good to have you here because you're so much in touch with the audience. Craig, we talked about this powder. What is in here? Is that the box for this hemp omega powder?
Exactly. That's the packaging for the hemp omega.
And we've got a little bottle here.
We do. That is.
Well, this is what bitter medicine looks like.
Yes.
Bitter medicine, something like you really want to try, isn't it? When it comes in a brown bottle, you go like, I'm not sick. I don't need it. But it's for the light protection, I suppose.
Well, you know what it is. It's point well taken. This product we're developing right now. We're working on the actually imaging and the packaging for it. This is simply the sample bottle for it. But you do need to protect it in a dark bottle because the oil itself is very sensitive to light. It oxidizes very quickly. So dark bottles, of course, are very important to it. But this in itself, and I can remember myself, David, I don't know about you, but I remember my mom chasing me around the kitchen when I was 4 and 5 years old with that awful cod liver oil. And some of my most awful memories, God bless my mother's soul, but it was her chasing me around that kitchen with that cod liver oil. And it's as terrible today as it was 40 some odd years ago. This, on the other hand, has that bioavailability that we're talking about, the sustainability that we're talking about, but it's tasteless. Or if we want, we can flavor it. So if it's meant for children, maybe you go for a flavor that they like, but it's very adaptable. Unlike an ingredient like sugar, where you would adjust your recipe to fit the sugar, this emulsion, this hemp omega, hemp oil emulsion, can be adjusted for particular oil loads, and we can make it different consistency as far as thickness. So it's completely adaptable to the widest range of application, and it doesn't stop at human. This is the endocannabinoid system, David, for canine is very similar to that for humans. So the pet applications for this, Raphael, are massive. So we don't stop at just great for humans, but it's also fantastic for pets or livestock as well. One of the big challenges is consistency, efficacious, measurable dosages. And it's hard to get powders to be spread or measured evenly in ingredients. Sometimes it's a challenge. But when you make a bar like Raphael does, if you had one more process and simply sprayed the oil on at the end of it, now you have even, equal, efficacious, measurable dosages. And you can get away from a healthy bar to now a functional bar. And as far as developing products, you can go all the way to pharmaceutical. There are companies out there that do that, GW Pharma, we've mentioned them earlier, but there's a way to get to nutraceutical where you don't need 3 or 5 years of clinical studies. And yet, from an economic side, they're important to us as well, because that's a healthy company, can produce healthy products, is that you don't have to have the capital expenditure to get the pharmaceutical, yet you can capture most of that revenue model, because the product gets out of that simple food to a functional food, and then that nutraceutical level. So on the opportunity to deliver omega nutrition, these two products here allow us to penetrate omega markets that have been dominated by marine-based products. And plant-based omegas for absorbability, and this is your wheelhouse more than mine, David, but a plant-based omega nutrition is absorbable into the body and is equal or has the same benefits as fish oils. But environmentally and sustainability, the marine-based products simply cannot provide the nutrition that we need for the increasing omega nutrition that the world demands. And this product, the renewable resource, the fact that we can grow it in 11 weeks, Raphael, and we cold press it, and then we can create products like this, and we provide nutrition and wellness, that's what keeps me up at night. That's what drives me. That's what makes me so excited to be part of this. And when I can share it with people who've been in the industry, like David, for decades, to reinforce that I'm on the right track, it just gives me encouragement every single day to keep moving forward. This is the beginning of the products. There's so much more application, Raphael. We're at the very beginning of this industry, and you know it as well as I do. We're just beginning to see the opportunity for hemp and the derivatives that we can provide from it.
David, what do you think your audience goes for?
Well, when I see the emulsion product here, that omega-3 oil that's now a powder, I see a tremendous story that can be told to my audience, a story they want to hear about how this can be used, how it can affect a transformation in all our foods. It can be added to all our foods. It can be added to fish oil so that most fish oils are very top heavy. That's why you keep burping it up. With all those phospholipids that are in there, those intermediary fatty acids, it makes everything more digestible, makes all those fatty acids more digestible. So this is a story that I keep telling Craig that we're going to tell to my audience, and we're going to show my audience how this product is made. When it comes to these hemp seed products like the hemp protein and the hemp seeds, these products are massive products already. It's a mega boom in the United States and Canada with these types of products.
They just eat it.
Just to eat it, to add it to smoothies. I mean, really, to be perfectly honest, what's happening is this is a tub that's sitting there on the kitchen counter, and they take their NutriBullet blender or whatever blender they've got, and they toss a tablespoon in there with a banana, with their berries. Maybe they take another superfood that they like a blue-green algae or spirulina, throw that in there, throw in their spring water or their coconut water, and boom, blast that off, and then that's their drink for the morning, and they go running out the door. So in my world, the context that we present these food products to people, it's in a recipe, a basic smoothie recipe.
Mm-hmm. So it's going to be just one of those things you have in the kitchen without asking questions.
That's
like
right.
You got the sugar, you got the coffee, you got the bread is somewhere, and maybe Germans, we love muesli. And you got some hemp seed, and it's just, you put it here, put it there, you add it there, you put it in your omelette if you like. Can't you?
That's also happening, yes. We're seeing people putting it into their omelet. We're seeing people baking with hemp seed, hemp protein, using hemp oil in all different kinds of contexts. For example, when we make a hot chocolate, I like to add a little bit of oil into the mix, something that just adds a little bit of that nutty flavor.
Yes.
So, because when you're doing a hot chocolate, if it's just chocolate and hot water, it's top heavy. It needs something in the middle. And hemp oil or hemp seed can be that perfect thing in the middle. What's amazing is that these things can do well hot. Mm-hmm. Not just as a cold food product like this, but also as a hot food and mixed into soups. I mean, forget about it. You can get these things into soups. You can sprinkle them on top of all different kinds of desserts. Mm-hmm. It just goes on and on and on. This is a chef's dream.
I imagine that on my ice cream. I've got another excuse for ice cream now. I need the ice cream to have hemp on it.
Now with ice cream, this is interesting because you have those butter oils, those buttery fats in there, and these are those intermediary phospholipids, so it's actually going to be more complete. It's going to taste more complete, and you'll digest it better with the hemp seed there.
We all love pasta. We do some sauce to the pasta. You add that.
Absolutely.
Because you got it in the kitchen. It's like 1 second. Zimp.
Yeah.
movement.
Absolutely. And you know what we say with this, David, is and you preach this as well, you add this to everything. You increase the nutritional profile of everything that you eat. Like Raphael takes his hemp oil every single day, and that's what makes him feel good. And the consistency of taking that hemp oil is what's providing you with the maximum health benefits, is what you've told us. It's the same thing with hemp seed. You add it to everything that you eat. You put it on your cereal in the morning. You put it on your salad at lunch. You add it to your pizza if you want. My son, what he likes to do is he'll peel a banana, and he'll have some hemp seed on a plate, and he'll stick the end of the banana in and eat it all day long. And when you see ice cream, that's my father's excuse for eating ice cream, is he puts hemp seed on it. I'm, Dad, don't eat so much ice cream. I'm eating hemp seed. And that's what he tells me he's doing. So, you know what? Increase the nutritional profile of everything that you eat.
What do you do with the rest of the plant?
Yeah, the rest is the straw or the stalks, which we leave after we harvest the seed. And in there are fibers, so natural fiber. And natural fiber were used by mankind for many, many things in human history, as we all know.
David, what more applications do you see for the fiber of the plant?
Hempcrete, I can see as building material. Hempcrete.
That's a new term now. Yeah. Instead of concrete, we say hempcrete.
Hempcrete. So you've got the fiber built into the brick. And not only does that produce an amazing insulative brick, but it also sequesters CO2. It's still, even when the brick is formed and sitting there, it's attracting CO2 and sucking it into the material, and that continues to go on. It's a flexible material. It's basically the future of green construction.
Raphael, David, Craig, thank you very much for joining in the ComCap Media Roundtable about hemp, the multi-billion-dollar crop. This was the second part. Please mail us your comments and questions to roundtable@comcapmedia. See you.